Alrighty, hello everyone and welcome. So we're going to be hearing from Liji today, and they will be covering turning reviews into real insights, emotion-aware sentiment analysis with GraphRAG and Neo4j. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Liji.
Hello everyone, sorry for the issue in the beginning. Let us continue. Today I am going to discuss about the topic turning reviews into real insights, emotion-aware sentiment analysis with GraphRAG and Neo4j. In this talk, I will walk you through how we can go beyond traditional sentiment analysis and turn reviews into explainable emotional insights. Instead of treating feedback as unstructured text, we treat each review as network of meaning. In short, how we help AI understand feeling, not just fact. Here is the plan for next 15 minutes. We will start with the objective and problem. Then we will move to the domain which we considered airline domain. After that, we will see GraphRAG approach, how our framework overcome existing limitations. Then we will move to architecture and experiments. Finally, we will conclude with the results and insights. Millions of passengers, billions of emotions. Can AI truly explain how people feel? What do you think? That is what our objective today. Create an explainable graph-based framework that transforms unstructured reviews into emotion-aware, aspects-linked insights. Why airline domain? We all know that in aviation, passenger experience is everything. With more than 12 million daily and 4.5 billion passengers flying every year, their voice matters a lot. Even small disruptions affect thousands instantly. This domain is the major contributor to GDP, jobs, and tourism network. Also, millions of passenger reviews publicly available in this domain. Moreover, this domain offers a perfect ground to evaluate multi-aspects, multi-emotion relationship. Why passenger feedback matter? Passenger feedback reflects a full emotional spectrum from frustration to appreciation. Each passenger review captures a story. It's not just a text. Airline that listen deeply can predict satisfaction and loyalty. Capturing these emotions help airline to move from reactive complaint handling to proactive experience design. What are the challenges in capturing feedback? First one, unstructured data. Reviews vary in length, language, and tone. Second, dynamic emotions. Passenger sentiment changes with the time and context. Third, lack of explainability. Most models can label polarity but not justify the why. These limitations highlighted the need for a knowledge-based framework that connect linguistic meaning with the relational reasoning. That's where GraphRAG enters. So today our focus GraphRAG with the Neo4j. It merges large language model with the knowledge graph for deeper understanding. It connects aspects, emotion, and sentiment relationship. Also, it turns unstructured review into explainable, data-driven insights for decision makers. This structure makes every model traceable, auditable, and explainable, which are the core principle of trustworthy AI. Why GraphRAG instead of plain RAG or LLM? Mainly four reasons. It's explainable, context-aware, actionable, and scalable. This is not just about sentiment scores, it's about actionable, explainable insights. Here is our approach comes in. There are two stages here, building the sentiment retriever and second one is the sentiment generation. In the first stage, we pre-process the reviews, split them into chunks and create embeddings. These embeddings are stored in Neo4j along with the relationship. This transforms flat text into rich knowledge graph. The result is what we call GraphRAG. This can be one time or based on defined frequency, or we can have a live integration. So based on once we set up the GraphRAG, we can proceed with the sentiment generation. So here based on the user query, GraphRAG will provide the relevant context. The retrieved context and query are combined into LLM prompt, which generate a contextual sentiment and emotion output. This fusion of semantic and graph context make output emotionally aware and factually grounded. This is a custom prompt for explainable sentiment and emotion analysis. Here we can see automated will be receiving the inference and reasoning that is structured output. So here I have kept one example how the input review is converted into generated response. Here we can see aspects, sentiment, emotion clarify how sentiment is derived, enhancing the transparency. This is the Neo4j schema considered for the current study. And this is the same nodes and relationship represented in the Neo4j graph database. Here we can see user wrote a review about airline and various aspects and the user metadata information. So here you can see all the nodes and relationship details. The dataset which we used for this study is Skytrax airline reviews from Kaggle. The data is available from 2006 to 2019. Around 41,000 verified passenger reviews, and we have considered around 360 plus airline across the world. So here you can see country versus airline count. This dataset reflects a globally diverse collection of airline reviews. Let's move to the experimental setup. The environment which we used is Python 3 Jupyter Notebook and Neo4j 5.16 used as a knowledge graph storage. Sentence-BERT is considered for embedding model. You can use any embedding model. And we have leveraged semantic graph retrieval with the transformer generation for the GraphRAG layer. And the LLM we have tried with the GPT, Mistral, and DeepSeek. We can use any LLM and you can compare the result. The custom prompt template for contextual, explainable sentiment output. This setup is modular, scalable, and reproducible, enabling seamless integration into enterprise pipelines. So this is the knowledge graph with the multi-aspects emotions. I just kept here one example, how that is represented in the Neo4j knowledge graph. My flight was delayed 3 hours with no update, which made me angry. But the cabin crew made the rest of the trip enjoyable. So here we are identifying two aspects, ground service with the anger, cabin staff with the happiness. The same thing is depicted in the Neo4j knowledge graph. We can see the user wrote a review. Review is having two aspects, cabin staff with the happiness and ground service with the anger. So similar way, and there 41,000 data we converted into knowledge graph. So this is what our final GraphRAG, which you are seeing in Neo4j Bloom view. This is having the entire information. This is what we have considered for the GraphRAG. The evaluation method. So we have applied various evaluation technique to evaluate the performance of the model. First, we started with the graph structural integrity. Here we tried structural coherence and ontological integrity. Second, retrieval performance. Precision, recall, and mean reciprocal rank we tried. Third, generation quality. How the data is generated. What is the faithfulness and evidence coverage. Then finally, this model is compared with the machine learning model, deep learning model, base RAG, and LLM. Our model was giving a better performance. So here you can see the retrieval performance of the model for each aspects. X-axis you can see the aspects, Y-axis performance. Most of the time we got above 90%. Specifically we can see recall and MRR is very stable. This is the aspects emotion distribution insights. Two insights I kept it here. First one, year-wise emotion distribution. Once our GraphRAG is ready, we can generate any sort of insights. So in this bar chart, we can see each year how the emotions are distributed. And in the second one, heat map, we can see the emotion distribution we can see percentage distribution of each emotion across major service aspects. For example, in-flight entertainment, 58% of anger. So this can be taken by airline to give a proactive improvement or action. These insights enable airline to take proactive improvement and actions. What are the benefits of GraphRAG in sentiment analysis? First one, explainable AI. Every insights backed by queryable graph path. Second, context aware. Understand who felt what and why. Third, actionable. It pinpoint weak spot by emotions and persona. Fourth, lingually robust framework for trustworthy human-centric AI. What are the future directions? Real-time analysis. We can integrate it with the live data, which we have not done currently. Extendable to other forecast emotions changes over the time. Multimodal input. Currently, we have evaluated only with the text data. It can be added voice and images into the review. The vision is a fully dynamic GraphRAG ecosystem capable of continuous context aware learning. Closing remark. GraphRAG bridges the gap between language and logic. It provides feedback that reflect human emotions and experiences. It turns data into insights that are rich and meaningful. This approach ensures insights are explainable and trustworthy. Passenger feedback is not just data, it's emotion, experience, and trust that we can explore through GraphRAG. Any questions? You can post your questions in the chat box as well. Thank you for joining my session.